Jelly Roll has filed for divorce from his wife, Bunnie Xo, after nearly 10 years of marriage. Reports are that the decision was mutual. It's a private family matter.
Some stories seem almost too remarkable to be true. They begin in unlikely places, survive impossible odds, and inspire millions of people who believe they have found proof that love can conquer anything. For years, that was the story many fans saw whenever they looked at Jelly Roll and Bunnie Xo. Their relationship became more than a celebrity marriage. It became a symbol of redemption, second chances, and a belief that two people with difficult pasts could build a brighter future together. But every relationship has chapters the public never sees. Behind sold-out concerts, glamorous award shows, viral interviews, and social media highlights are ordinary human beings carrying extraordinary pressures. Fame changes people. Success changes routines. Time changes priorities. Even the strongest marriages require constant effort, especially when both partners are navigating lives that grow larger with every passing year. As conversations about their relationship have continued to circulate online, many dramatic headlines have claimed there was one shocking reason their marriage came to an end. Yet the reality is rarely that simple. Relationships do not usually collapse because of one conversation, one disagreement, or one mistake. More often, they are shaped by years of shared experiences, personal growth, painful lessons, and difficult decisions that only the people inside the marriage can fully understand. To understand why so many people became fascinated with their story, it helps to go back to where everything began, long before platinum records, arena tours, and television appearances. At that time, Jason Ford, known today as Jelly Roll, was still fighting for a career that many people believed would never happen. He had experienced legal trouble in his youth, struggled financially, and spent years performing in small venues while trying to convince audiences to believe in his music. There were nights when success felt impossibly far away. He traveled from venue to venue, often earning little money after expenses were paid. The music industry can be unforgiving, especially for artists who do not fit the traditional mold. Jelly Roll's appearance, musical style, and unconventional background caused many executives to underestimate him. Yet, he continued writing songs that reflected his own experiences with addiction, regret, family, and hope. Those honest lyrics slowly began attracting listeners who connected with his authenticity. Instead of pretending to have lived a perfect life, he openly discussed his mistakes and the consequences of his past. That honesty became one of the defining characteristics of his career. Fans appreciated that he never tried to hide where he came from. Around that same period, Elisa DeFord, better known as Bunnie Xo, was building a life of her own. She possessed an outspoken personality, a sharp sense of humor, and a determination to succeed on her own terms. Unlike many public figures who carefully controlled every word they spoke, Bunnie developed a reputation for saying exactly what she believed. Whether people agreed with her or not, they rarely questioned her authenticity. When their paths first crossed in Las Vegas, neither could predict how dramatically their lives would change. According to stories both have shared publicly over the years, there was an immediate connection. It was not based on fame or financial success, because neither possessed much of either at the time. Instead, they recognized something familiar in one another, two people who had experienced hardship and understood what it meant to fight for a better future. Their friendship developed naturally before romance fully took hold. They spent hours talking about life, family, dreams, and the future they both hoped to create. Those conversations established a foundation that seemed stronger than simple attraction. They learned about each other's scars before they celebrated each other's victories. Eventually, their relationship grew serious enough that marriage became the obvious next step. In 2016, they married in Las Vegas, embracing an unconventional beginning that perfectly reflected their personalities. They were not surrounded by enormous celebrity entourages or extravagant luxury. Instead, they focused on the commitment they were making to each other. For many fans, that spontaneous wedding became one of the most romantic parts of their story. It represented two imperfect people choosing each other despite uncertain futures. They were betting on love at a time when neither could predict the incredible success that awaited them. Marriage, however, did not instantly eliminate life's challenges. Like many blended families, they faced responsibilities that required patience, maturity, and sacrifice. Jelly Roll was already devoted to his children, and Bunnie embraced the role of supportive stepmother. She has frequently spoken about how important family became in her life after they married. Stepping into that position required compassion. Parenting is rarely easy, and becoming a parent figure to children who are not biologically your own brings unique emotional challenges. Nevertheless, she consistently demonstrated her commitment to helping create stability for the family. Meanwhile, Jelly Roll continued pursuing music with relentless determination. Years of hard work gradually began producing larger opportunities. More listeners discovered his songs. Concert attendance increased. Industry professionals who once overlooked him started paying attention. Every new achievement represented another milestone in a journey that had seemed nearly impossible just a few years earlier. Singles climbed the charts. Collaborations introduced him to broader audiences. Television appearances expanded his visibility beyond longtime fans. Yet success creates its own challenges. The more popular an artist becomes, the less personal time remains available. Touring schedules become longer. Recording sessions stretch into late nights. Promotional interviews fill the calendar. Award shows require travel across the country. Every opportunity that advances a career also demands another sacrifice from personal life. Many musicians have admitted that balancing family and fame becomes increasingly difficult as careers grow. Maintaining emotional closeness while spending weeks or months apart requires extraordinary communication and trust. Even couples with strong foundations sometimes struggle under those circumstances. Bunnie Xo was experiencing major professional growth herself. Through her podcasts and online platforms, she built an audience that admired her honesty and entertaining personality. Rather than existing only as Jelly Roll's wife, she established an independent career with millions of followers interested in her own opinions, interviews, and life experiences. That independence became one of the defining characteristics of their marriage. Both partners encouraged one another's ambitions. Neither seemed interested in living in the other's shadow. They celebrated each other's accomplishments while continuing to pursue separate professional goals. To outside observers, they appear to have discovered a formula that worked remarkably well. Interviews often featured laughter, playful teasing, and visible affection. Fans admired how openly they discussed personal growth, forgiveness, and overcoming adversity together. Their willingness to speak honestly about difficult topics made them different from many celebrity couples who carefully avoided uncomfortable conversations. They acknowledged imperfections instead of pretending to have a flawless marriage. Ironically, that openness made people admire them even more because it felt genuine. One of the most widely discussed chapters of their relationship involved rebuilding trust after a painful period early in their marriage. Rather than hiding from that history, both eventually acknowledged that healing required accountability, forgiveness, and years of consistent effort. Jelly Roll publicly accepted responsibility for mistakes he had made without attempting to shift blame elsewhere. He spoke about how personal growth often begins when someone stops making excuses and starts confronting uncomfortable truths. Those reflections resonated with many listeners because they aligned with the themes already present throughout his music. For Bunnie, forgiveness was never portrayed as something simple or immediate. She has explained that rebuilding trust took time and emotional work. The process required both people to recommit themselves to the relationship rather than assuming old wounds would disappear automatically. Their willingness to discuss those experiences helped many couples facing similar struggles. Instead of presenting themselves as relationship experts, they simply shared what they had learned through their own difficult journey. Looking back, those years demonstrated both the strength and complexity of their partnership. They survived obstacles that might have ended many marriages. Together, they transformed painful experiences into opportunities for growth, creating an inspiring narrative that attracted millions of supporters. At the same time, life continued changing around them. Fame expanded. Responsibilities multiplied. Public attention intensified. Every interview, social media post, and public appearance became subject to endless speculation from fans and entertainment media alike. As their influence continued growing, so did curiosity about every aspect of their personal lives. Admirers celebrated their happiest moments, but critics analyzed every photograph, every comment, and every period of silence, often searching for hidden meanings that may or may not have existed. That intense public scrutiny would eventually become another challenge neither of them could completely escape. As Jelly Roll's popularity exploded, his life changed in ways few people could have imagined. The artist who once performed for small crowds was suddenly headlining sold-out arenas, winning major awards, and collaborating with some of the biggest names in music. His story of redemption resonated with fans across country, rock, and hip-hop audiences. Every milestone represented years of sacrifice finally paying off. But success also introduced a new reality that could not be ignored. Life on the road became constant. Concerts, rehearsals, interviews, television appearances, and promotional events filled nearly every week of the year. Touring is often described as one of the most demanding careers in entertainment. Artists spend countless nights away from home, constantly traveling between cities while trying to maintain relationships with family and friends. For many couples, distance becomes one of the greatest tests of commitment. Phone calls replace dinner conversations. Video chats replace evenings together. Important family moments sometimes happen while one partner is hundreds of miles away. Even when love remains strong, maintaining emotional closeness requires intentional effort. At the same time, Bunnie Xo was experiencing tremendous professional success of her own. Her podcast attracted millions of listeners who appreciated her direct personality and willingness to discuss subjects that many hosts avoided. She interviewed celebrities, entertainers, athletes, and influencers while continuing to grow her own personal brand. Her success proved she was far more than the spouse of a famous musician. She built an audience because people genuinely enjoyed her perspective. That independence became an important part of her identity, allowing her to pursue ambitions that existed entirely separate from Jelly Roll's music career. Many observers admired this balance. Instead of competing with one another, they often appear to celebrate each other's accomplishments. When Jelly Roll accepted awards, Bunnie proudly supported him. When her podcast reached new milestones, he publicly congratulated her achievements. Still, balancing two rapidly expanding careers is rarely easy. As schedules became increasingly demanding, finding uninterrupted time together likely required careful planning. While fans usually see glamorous red carpet appearances and social media highlights, those moments represent only a tiny fraction of everyday life. Behind every public event are weeks of travel, business meetings, deadlines, and personal responsibilities. Another challenge came from constant public attention. Every celebrity eventually learns that privacy becomes increasingly difficult to maintain. Fans and entertainment media often analyze every interview, every photograph, and every social media post, searching for hidden clues about personal relationships. If one spouse attends an event alone, speculation begins. If either partner removes or changes a social media photo, rumors spread online. If interviews become less frequent, some immediately assume trouble. Much of that speculation turns out to be inaccurate. Yet, public figures often have little control over the stories that circulate online. Jelly Roll and Bunnie Xo experienced this reality firsthand. Because they've been unusually open about many aspects of their relationship, audiences sometimes expected answers to deeply personal questions that most couples would keep private. Over time, that level of attention can become exhausting. One thoughtful comment can be misunderstood. A joke taken out of context can generate headlines. An ordinary disagreement can become national entertainment. Few marriages are designed to withstand that level of constant observation. Another subject they discussed publicly involved their hopes of expanding their family. Bunnie spoke honestly about the emotional and physical challenges surrounding fertility. Rather than hiding those struggles, she chose to share them with listeners who might be experiencing similar heartbreak. Her openness inspired many women facing comparable situations. Fertility treatments, medical procedures, and emotional uncertainty can create enormous stress for any couple. By discussing those experiences publicly, she reminded people they were not alone. Those conversations also highlighted another important aspect of their marriage. They consistently tried to support each other through life's most difficult moments. Jelly Roll frequently praised Bunnie's resilience. Bunnie regularly celebrated Jelly Roll's determination. Their relationship often appeared built upon mutual admiration rather than competition. That mutual respect became especially evident whenever either discussed the other's accomplishments. Instead of focusing on themselves, they frequently redirected attention toward their spouse's hard work and personal growth. Fans appreciated those moments because they felt sincere, Unlike carefully scripted publicity appearances, their conversations often included humor, vulnerability, and emotional honesty. They laughed together, tease one another, and openly acknowledge the imperfections that existed within every long-term relationship. That authenticity became one of the reasons audiences connected so deeply with them. Jelly Roll's music also reflected many of the lessons he had learned throughout his life. Songs about redemption, forgiveness, addiction, and hope resonated because listeners believed he genuinely understood those experiences. Rather than presenting himself as someone who had achieved perfection, he consistently described himself as someone still learning and growing. His willingness to admit past mistakes earned respect from many fans. He often explained that people should never allow their worst decisions to define the rest of their lives. Personal responsibility, faith, and perseverance became recurring themes in interviews and performances alike. Bunnie expressed similar ideas from her own perspective. She frequently encouraged people not to judge themselves solely by their past circumstances. Reinvention, she argued, remained possible for anyone willing to put in the work required to change. Those shared beliefs created a powerful message that extended far beyond entertainment.